the stage a two-time Euro Tour finalist, the former winner of the Players' Championship Finals, the Asset, Paul Nicholson. We now introduce a former Gibraltar Darts Trophy finalist, 7 televised finals and 12 PDC ranking titles, Chizzy Dave Chisnall.
And on we move into the second half of the evening session here at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy, and Dave Chisnall just commandeers the Nico sunglasses to further endear the crowd to him. 1 or 2 rogue boos for Paul Nicholson as he made his way onto stage, the pantomime villain sometimes on the European Tour, or indeed wherever he goes. Nico, good to see him back involved in the second round of the European Tour event once again this year, you have to say. But he's up against the number 10 seed Dave Chisnall this time, a man who's put in some good performances of late on the Pro Tour this year. Certainly a finalist and 2 times a semi-finalist on the Pro Tour. A quarter-finalist, the best he's recorded on the European circuit so far in 2018. And just 1 or 2 other promising signs from Chizzy here and there as well. But for Nicholson, well, they say you can only beat what's put in front of you, and that was certainly what Nicholson did yesterday. Many people won't be reading too much into his 6-0 demolition of Anthony Lopez. The Gibraltarian qualifier was brushed aside, but Nicholson with a statement of intent after the match, if you like, by saying he set the target of winning 6-0. Some might see that as arrogance, but he felt it was necessary to keep him focused, and that just about sums up the mindset of Paul Nicholson. He pays a lot of attention to detail in many ways, and the psychology side of things is one such aspect that he's looking to take care of as well. Has the advantage of throwing first here. Dan Dawson alongside me, Rob Malarkey, for this one.
Well, if you're not trying to win every game 6-0, what are you trying to do?
Win it 6-5.
Yeah, you're not aiming to give legs away, are you?
As Alan Durbin once said, if you want entertainment, go and see the circus. I'm here to win games, grind out points.
137.
Well, you may not read a great deal into Paul Nicholson's 6-0 trouncing of Anthony Lopez in round 1, but you can probably read a little bit more into his recent form, because things have started looking up for Paul Nicholson significantly.
140.
Made the last day in Sindelfingen, a tournament that's hugely important to him. And he wasn't far away from making a final second either, only beaten by Jamie Lewis in a last leg decider. Milton Keynes, he made a board final and won his board. The most recent Players' Championship event. He comes here to Gibraltar just rejuvenated, believing that he can. He's still got something to give. I mean, he was said after his first round win, he was looking at jobs. He was going to work behind a bar. He did used to work for local authority down in Australia when he was living there, but you know, it's not as if he can just walk back into a similar kind of job in a new part of the world. So he's just going to take any job. His girlfriend was saying, well, why don't you focus on the media thing? So I think I've still got more to give as a player. And the last few weeks
105
have vindicated that.
164.
Hang on. stand down. We're not going to see the 164. Will we see a 96 from Paul Nicholson?
96.
Treble 20 for double 18.
We require 96.
And if it's a single 20 that's below the treble bed, he should go double-double. Now, he probably stays on the 60 there, or does he? Yeah, well, he did. You might not have known it from where the dart landed.
56. They require 68.
So Chizzy with the opportunity for a break in the very first leg, looking at 48 now. Tops for Chizzy.
48. We require 40.
Call of 48 from George Noble will be music to the ears of Paul Nicholson.
Oh, that's awkward. That's just lying down and covering a bit of the bed, but he moves across expertly there, Paul Nicholson. 17 darts, hold of throw. Now, the first time these two met in PDC darts,
62.
the 11th of June, 2011. It was in Barnsley. It was in a semi-final. Nicholson won it 6-5. That was the day that Nicholson won his most recent PDC title. Went on and won the final that day.
60.
It was his second title in about 3 weeks, Paul Nicholson. And his fourth PDC ranking title. It followed his major win in 2010, the Players' Championship final.
140.
And also 2011 was a very productive year for him. He made the quarterfinals of the UK Open that year, the last 8 at the Grand Slam, and the European Championship as well. It was a very productive year. He won, I think, about £200,000 in prize money that year.
Yeah, it's really when he was
40.
at the peak of his powers, or at least certainly at the peak of his world ranking. When he was winning tournaments, beating the best players, going up against the likes of Taylor and beating them.
And he wasn't too far away from a Premier League place as well as a result of that.
He's the only player ever to have won a major televised title and not featured in the Premier League, which is a record of sorts.
$140.
But as you say, of late he's been playing some pretty good stuff. There was that recent weekend, the Players' Championship weekend in Milton Keynes, where he made the last 16
99.
and then the last 32, losing to eventual finalist Gabriel Clemens in the former. He classed that as the best weekend on the Pro Tour for him in some time, and he was asked afterwards, was he happy? He said yes, he was, but he was not content. He stated his desire to go and get more, and he feels the way his game is evolving that he can find something much, much more. Can Dave Chisnall find a leg on the board here?
88.
Well, he's in pole position to do just that. And we will see Nicholson again on stage in Denmark as well. He also qualified for Copenhagen, so he's rediscovered the knack of qualifying for these European Tour events. A couple of appearances already this year, plus this one, plus Copenhagen. Maybe more to come.
You show on the second leg, Dave Chisnall. Third leg, Paul to throw first. Game on.
Well, a 16 darter to follow the 17 darter in the opening leg. It's not stellar, but it's solid from these two. This is more than solid.
140.
Just looking to slide that final dart underneath the first two. He had the opportunity, and that's why there was a little acknowledgement of annoyance from Nicholson.
Winner of this faces Joe Cullen, who was superb to kick off the evening session.
Yeah, average of 107 or so from Joe as well, in his 6-1 defeat of Darius Labanauskas from Lithuania.
Yeah, we've
55.
seen some fantastic displays. Michael Van Gerwen, obviously 107 average, almost 108 for Joe Cullen, and Rob Cross producing that stunning fight back against Cristo Reyes.
100.
With more to come.
I would say so.
Peter Snakebite Wright on the way, the number 3 seed and world number 2. Mensur Suljovic versus Adrian Lewis. That's the next game on. Could be a belter, that. And the King. Mervyn King takes on Chris Dobie.
100.
Because he should start in the 19s. Good counting from Professor Chisnall.
133.
That's why you start in the 19s. 133 leaves a finish. Had he chucked in a ton 40 there, he'd only be on 163. It's a bogey number.
$140. You require 170. $42. We require 66.
Well, nice approach work by Chisnall, but just losing his way momentarily there with that 42.
Oh. Poor dart, that one. It's a long way off its intended target of treble 14.
Back on track here, though. Tops for Nicholson.
46. They require 128.
Now, how hopeful will he be of returning to the Oki? Chisnall looking at 128.
Tricky shot, this one. Because here, despite hitting the treble first dart, knew he needed another. He's got it. That leaves the target that Nicholson's left himself. Double 10. Nicholson meditating at the back of the stage.
108. We require 20.
Just a little warning for Nicholson there, though, that he can't really afford to give up Chisnall too many opportunities, because he can produce moments like that. Inching closer.
He's on the third leg.
And there we see that gradual incline towards the double 10 bed, making good use of those first two darts. Fill it up, Dave.
180.
Here's Rog.
He'll be happy with that.
Chizzy's manager.
$100.
Ooh, just the wrong side of the wire. As is that. And that.
25.
Well, the opening Sun 80. And then the 25, just allowing Nicholson back into this leg. And Nicholson making the most of that as well.
140.
He's done that a few times, Nicholson, where he stuck two in the treble and he's not been able to follow it with the third one. He has changed his throw slightly. He's got this theory in his head about the speed of the dart through the air, and he believes that if he can get the dart going into the board, but not as quickly, then it's less likely to cannon off and deflect massively away from the target area. Now, he's changed his throw to try and sort of soften how the darts are going into the board without them falling out. Obviously, it's still got to fit in there securely. But it's just not quite working for him so far tonight.
96.
Threatening to produce a maximum. To have 5 scores of 140 or more.
Yeah, and that's just another example of that attention to detail, the abundance of thought that Nicholson obviously puts into a lot of aspects of his game.
97. You got 103.
Another one being his recent purchase of a power ball. Have you heard about this?
No, he's not told me that.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's just see what Chizzy does here. Yep, that's in. So 67 scored, so 36 away. Double 18 then for Chizzy.
85.
Second time where he's hit a treble that he was after. Not sure if it was in. Had to ask, had to stop. And he does stop sometimes anyway. And you can see him just talking to his manager there, saying that he couldn't pick it out, whether it was actually in the board or not. But he is going to come back and have a look at the double 9.
92.
I think Chiz will go straight at it. I don't think he will split it. Let's have a look. Where's he looking? He's going straight at it.
He's on the full flag. Chisnall.
Turns out to be the right decision.
Fifth flag fall to throw.
Yeah, Nicholson has recently bought something called a Powerball. Nothing to do with lottery tickets. He's had wrist injuries, shoulder injuries in the past. So, from his point of view, it will be interesting to see if this can add something to his arm and wrist strength, and maybe in terms of injury prevention as well for his career.
What do you do with it?
I don't know. That's just what Nicholson has
So it's like an exercise aid. It's not like some sort of mystical artifact that Skeletor had. It's not like an infinity stone.
It's a tangible product.
Yeah.
That will.
You can get it off Amazon. You're not, he's not had to go and fish it out of a volcano or anything.
100.
Finally, Paul Nicholson produces the maximum that he's been threatening to produce all the way through this game.
Oh, I did find out where the monkey outfit's come from as well, by the way.
Right.
Because Bennett is now wearing Chizzy's colours. He's had another wardrobe change.
This. Oh, 10 darts are on the cards for Paul Nicholson. 180, 165, leaves double 8. What a response from the asset.
77. We require 16.
Well, he's got all the time in the world for this one with Chizzy on 227. Nicholson will like the confidence boost of taking this one out with the first dart, maybe the second dart, though. He won't want to be dawdling too much. And that's a very, very good leg from Paul Nicholson. 11 darts for a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, best of the match by quite some distance. Every other leg has taken 6 visits to the board. That one only took the 4.
70.
Yeah, Chizzy just indicating that element of deviation. He has wavered slightly on occasion, almost suggesting that there's some exterior force at work here, aka a breeze.
100.
Nothing wrong with Nicholson staying straight though.
180, 165, took out the 16, second dart and double 8, kicks off 180. Paul
96.
Nicholson is in a little purple patch here. How long can it last? Because if it does last for another 3 or 4 visits, he could take a grip of this game.
$100.
Well, he's still in good shape in this leg. It's on the Chizzy throw. That's an awkward first dart for Chizzy. That's why he's moved downstairs to the 19s. And he's moved to good effect as well. There we are. Was supporting Vincent van der Voort earlier. Now supporting Chizzy. Nicholson looking to support his credentials here for a 4th leg on the board. Down to 140 after 9. Chizzy again wayward on the first dart.
41.
Well, if he is suggesting there's a breeze, which way is it blowing, Chiz? Because you've had a few in the 5s and you've had a few in the 1s. So are you overcompensating, or is it a whirlwind? What's going on?
$60.
Not the end of the world. He at least stayed straight. But this would be the end of the leg. Oh. Tops for a 160 for Chiz.
140. We require 80.
Well, Nicholson started this leg ever so well. But all of a sudden he's playing catch-up here.
Could get 1 dart minimum. It is only 1 dart. It's not in the way of the double top bed.
60.
Daggers.
Can't believe it's not gone in. Had to have a good peek round the corner, but it is below the wire. And Chizzy looks at double 10 to get back on terms once more. Is this the one that's slipping away from Nicholson? Well, just inside for double 5.
15.
And Nicholson gets another opportunity.
We require 20.
Blows his hands, steps up to the hockey. 3 darts in hand at double 10 for Nicholson for a 4-2 lead, and this time he makes no mistake whatsoever. And it is a break. It's the first break for Nicholson, who leads 4-2.
7 flag, Paul to throw.
Strange leg, that one. He started really well, scored heavily in his first 2 visits, then just seemed to lose his way, allowed Chizzy back in. Chizzy squandered his chances, but Nicholson hoovered up.
Well, I mentioned at the start of this that Paul Nicholson beat Dave Chisnall in their first ever meeting fully 7 years ago. Now, since then, they've had another 9 meetings. Nicholson has only won 2 of those, and the most recent was more than 5 years ago. It is a long time since he's beaten Dave Chisnall. He's lost at the match play, he's lost on a Euro Tour stage, he's lost at the UK Open qualifier, and he's lost on the Pro Tour and the Players' Championship
140.
Series. They haven't played for 2 or 3 years. but then again, Paul with his injury problems and
60.
hasn't been playing every single event. And even when he hadn't been going deep into them, so there's less chance of him running into any specific player. Interesting to see if Paul even remembers the last time he
60.
beat Dave Chisnall. I'm sure he remembers their first encounter because that was the last time he won a PDC title. But it has been a long while and he's given himself a fantastic opportunity.
He does strike me as the sort of player who does remember a lot of matches. Whenever we're in commentary, he does often refer back to previous encounters with players. He has got a very good memory as far as certain matches are concerned. I'm not saying for one moment he remembers every one of them. He may well remember this one if he comes out on top.
57.
Doesn't like that though. Roll of the eyes.
100. We require 144.
Yes.
Ooh.
120.
And he got the second prize.
You require 105.
Chizzy has threatened a ton plus checkout in this match a couple of times.
Once again,
85.
similar finish on the tops, wasn't it? Just a shade under the wire.
Missed double 10 for a 128. Missed tops for the 160. Missed tops for the 105. Things could be very, very different for Dave Chisnall had he taken any of those combination finishes, but he finds himself on the brink. Chizzy, a former finalist in this tournament. There's been one outstanding leg from Paul Nicholson, that 11 darter, but everything else has taken him 6 visits to the board. They're all 16, 17, 18 darters. All right, it's solid. There you see. Everything has been 6 visits to the board apart from that magnificent 5th leg, which was nearly a 10 darter. Now, Chizzy, we know,
91.
will not be happy.
$44.
Just looking a little bit laboured at times here, Chizzy as well.
Oh, Chizzy, the biggest 180 hitter, or certainly one of the biggest 180 hitters in world darts. He's only averaging 99 with his first 9. He's only hit 1 maximum.
95.
Nicholson has been the one more likely to hit the 180s so far in this game from watching it develop. And that has
100.
just put Chizzy under pressure, and it's meant that he has had to take out these big combination finishes, and he's not been up to the job tonight. Not yet at any rate. We have seen one magnificent comeback this evening from Rob Cross. We may have to see another here.
Well, Paul Nicholson making only his 3rd appearance at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy on the European Tour. He's never made the final day before. Beaten in the first round last year by Chris Quantock. In 2013, he made round 2. He beat Joe Cullen in the first round that year as well by 6 legs to 5 before losing to Steve Brown. And he's on the verge of a first here. 178 points away.
100.
Make that 118. $133. We require 180.
Now then, Paul, 1 treble needed for a 118. If you've got this number, you've got a spot in the final day. I think he was thinking about maybe 48 in ball. But he's thinking about double 19 now.
99. We require 40.
Well, he has the security blanket of the fact he has a current 3-leg cushion. It's now a 2-leg cushion. But Nicholson also with the advantage of throwing first in this 9th leg.
Oh, he's got the throw in 2 of the 3 remaining legs.
Nicholson
should close it out from here. Going on what we've seen so far, Chizzy has not thrown anything better than a 16 darter in this game. It has been 16, 17 and 17 his winning legs. He has got to start finding 15s. If he finds 15s, he can win this game.
61.
81 plays 61. Nicholson has got away with that one to a certain extent. He'd love a ton 40 or so here.
43.
Maybe just a touch of finish line fever creeping in now.
Well, there haven't been many of those darts, have they? He stayed, by and large, very straight, Paul Nicholson. Not seen many in the 1 and 5 segment.
And Chizzy is always capable of coming good. Well, he's been involved in some fairly high-profile 6-5 scorelines, hasn't he, Paul Nicholson, of late? And that may well be in the back of his mind right now. Came through an epic tussle against Terry Jenkins at the UK Open in the first round. Had that 6-5 encounter against Van der Pas as well on the European Tour stage.
Dear Chiz.
And against Jamie Lewis as well. But Chizzy also losing his way here as he threatens a fight back.
33.
33 on the board. Nicholson has a chance once again. But you suspect he needs at least 2 trebles here to give himself a realistic opportunity.
$100. $125.
Shame about the last dart.
Beautiful.
$140.
2 dart checkout required for Paul Nicholson to close this game out. The combination finishing for Chizzy has not been working so far, but it works right now with 102.
Brilliant. Brilliant response by Chizzy. Still plenty of life left in the number 10 seed. Still has lots to do here, Dave Chisnall, but it's another step in the right direction. He trails by 4. He's throwing first here to level the match. Nicholson closes his eyes and just tries to compose himself once again.
26.
And that will give him plenty of encouragement and reason to be cheerful.
Well, we said that if Dave Chisnall could start finding 15 darters, it might be enough to win. He produced a 15 darter there. Oh, run, Paul.
121.
Quickest I've seen a dart player move all weekend.
81.
Stolen the darts already here, Nicholson.
And he can certainly add a bit of gloss to the advantage he has here. That was a high-flying second dart.
100.
Well, another visit here without a treble would be
56.
very, very damaging indeed for Dave Chisnall.
He's made that rather ropey-looking 100 from Nicholson in the previous visit look absolutely golden.
$100.
So many visits like that, Nicholson, where he's hitting 1 treble or 2 trebles, and he'd be frustrated because he feels he should be coming away with 2 or 3. But Chizzy, the radar's off again.
43.
And this is just being handed over to Nicholson. He's got 6 darts, 9 darts, maybe more from here. He might only need 4.
140.
And that could well be the case. Nicholson has plenty to work with. He's got that room for manoeuvre now.
100.
The sun is nowhere near enough for Chizzy. He's on 195. Nicholson still has plenty of time and plenty of darts in hand here for the match. 5-4 he leads. He's looking at tops and he takes it out with the first dart in hand. And Paul Nicholson once again is through to the final day on the European Tour. He made the last 16 on his previous foray at the European Darts Grand Prix at Sindelfingen, where his run was ended by Jamie Lewis. But on this occasion, he'll face Joe Cullen in the 3rd round tomorrow. And the resurgence of Paul Nicholson, you have to say, continues. There have been signs of this coming over the last few weeks. Nicholson very much in a better place right now. And, well, he looks a little bit shattered by the experience. He's taking a well-earned breather, but he's clearly delighted. Let's grab a quick word with him right now. There are a couple of very strong legs in there, but overall it seemed sort of steady darts, nice and straight, the odd treble, and then taking those chances when they presented themselves.
It's just getting a bit edgy when I didn't want it to be. Middle of the game, I felt invincible. I felt like I couldn't miss, and maybe I took that for granted a little bit. My rhythm was good. Then after that, my rhythm just withered a little bit. That's the one thing I'm working on the practice board. Just get my rhythm right and just a little bit quicker. And when it's right, it's great. When it's off, it's a little bit ordinary. But tonight it was good enough.
Your first win against that man in 5 years, through to the final day of a Euro Tour for the second time in quick succession. I mean, this must feel like you're starting again. You must feel that excitement that when you first came over to the PDC, don't you?
I'm a different player, Dan. It's like the asset point 2. I used to be raw and, you know, a bit gritty, but now I'm a different person. And when you're a different person, you become a different player. I look up to Gary Anderson probably more than anybody else. I looked at him when he was my age, and he was a bit like me. He was raw, he was gritty. But I looked at him in his 40s, and I thought, you know what, he played his best stuff in his 40s. And I thought, well, why can't I do that? And I modelled myself on Gary, and I'm just trying to do my best right now. I'm just trying to be chilled. Seems to be working.
Certainly is. Congratulations, Paul. The asset, Paul Nicholson, through to the final day of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. He will take on the rock star Joe Cullen for a spot in the quarterfinals.